You're going to speak with the FBI tonight. Some people are questioning this. Why would you do that after the history you have with the FBI, from Russia collusion to undermining you?
To the raid of Mar-a-Lago and lots of other things, because the FBI has such potential, and they're looking into what happened with the, how a thing like that could have happened. And it's a very friendly meeting. I have no doubt about that. They want to find out, and I'm somebody that wants to.
And that is former President Trump with me right before he sat down for an interview with the FBI on Thursday about the attempted assassination on his life after the Bureau's previous dealings with the 45th president. Joining me now to talk more about that is former House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, now the CEO of Trump's Media and Technology Group, and former Department of Defense Chief of Staff Kash Patel. Gentlemen, great to see you both. Thank you so much for being here. When I was with President Trump on Thursday, I happened to see the 3 FBI agents that were there in Bedminster. I said hello to them before he sat down with them, as well as his lawyer. What is your take on this investigation and the interview that he did, Devin Nunes?
Well, I would say at least maybe those 3 FBI agents knew that it was actually a bullet that hit President Trump. So maybe that's progress. 2 weeks after the fact, Ray still didn't know that. I think there's disagreement in the ranks of the FBI. I think the rank and file agents know that President Trump wants to establish the FBI as the world's premier law enforcement agency. And on that point, Marie, I think what's still left out there is that here we are 3 weeks later, we don't know jack about the shooter. And this is unprecedented in U.S. history to not know anything. Nobody's interested. Nobody's finding out who his friends were, who his parents are. Nobody's trying to interview them. We've heard nothing. And I think that is a big stain on the FBI. And I think it leads right back to Kamala Harris and Biden, who have been using the Department of Justice to target Trump since he left office.
Wow. Kash, how do you see it?
Well, I think, as President Trump said, the FBI has great potential, and unfortunately it took this catastrophic incident for us to arrive here. But the FBI also needs to be defanged and de-weaponized, and that forcing function must come from the House majority of Republicans in Congress. It's been 3 weeks, and they've stood up a select committee, but they're in recess till the middle of September. What they need to do is stand up a website that allows Americans that were there to download and upload all their information. They need to send out subpoenas, and they need to answer the quintessential question that the director of the Secret Service and the acting director lied about. President Trump's team requested additional security for at least a year before this catastrophic incident, and both of those individuals lied under oath. Where are the emails and memorandums? The Secret Service doesn't operate with WhatsApp warrant applications like the FBI. If a president asks for increased security, it's written down. So now that we've been caught lying to the American public, and this investigation is a unique opportunity of unity behind President Trump's leadership to go out there and say, we can fix the FBI, but we got to know the wrongs. But the Republicans in the House must act like Devin Nunes did when he was chairman in order to run that style investigation.
Well, I mean, look, to that point, Rasmussen did a poll. They polled 1,089 likely voters. They found that 41% believe it is likely that officials in the federal government were part of a conspiracy to try to take down President Trump, which is absolutely crazy. I mean, I don't know where they're getting that, but certainly Rasmussen is out with this poll that says that, Devin.
Well, look, it's easy to understand. I was at Mar-a-Lago many times over the past several years, and it was clear that the security was not adequate. I mean, I had multiple conversations with many of the Secret Service agents, and they were very uncomfortable. And now, of course, that's all coming out after the fact, when they almost allowed former president and hopefully current future president to be assassinated on live television. So I think now you're seeing the increase, but I think Kash is right. The real question here is why did this go on for so long when requests weren't granted, when any normal person could notice that there were simple things like, hey, maybe an open shot from 100 yards away on a high point on a top building near the president, maybe you should have somebody up there.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really just common sense.
Did you see, Kash, that the Department of Justice is now going to be paying Peter Strzok and Lisa Page? You know them, obviously, from the Russia collusion lie that they pursued against President Trump. Now they're going to be paid $2 million, $1.8 million to Peter Strzok and $800,000 to Lisa Page, because they sued them for making public their text messages.
I saw that, and unfortunately, this is everything that's wrong with Washington, D.C., Maria. You have these two government gangsters who architected the unlawful search and seizure of Donald Trump's information during a presidential campaign, and were using government devices to hide their affair and hide their hatred and hide evidence of innocence. And when Devin and I unearthed these, you know what they did? They redacted them, and it took us 2 years later till I was a deputy DNI to release them to the public. And what does Joe Biden's administration do? Rewards these government gangsters for their atrocious, unlawful conduct. This is why nobody in America has faith in the institutions of government, and this is why this unique opportunity must be utilized to unify the country and get the answers we need. And as you stated, this is why there's so much conjecture in the United States of America. We're not getting any answers from anybody on Capitol Hill, FBI, DOJ, or Secret Service, and so now we're left with these crazy stories about conspiracies inside of government to shoot an American president. It's just ridiculous, and the vacuum could be sealed up so quickly, but instead they're too busy paying the lovebirds millions of American taxpayer dollars for breaking the law.
Terrible. Devin, let me get your take on social media. You are the CEO of Trump Media and Technology Group, including Truth Social. President Trump says the pictures from the assassination attempt and the search on Google has been altered and manipulated. Your reaction?
Well, it's been happening for years. And, you know, when you go to any search engine, 90% of it is going to be pro-Kamala Harris. 90% of it is going to be anti-President Trump. You have the outrageous censoring of the assassination attempt. I think some of that has been fixed now. But, Maria, this is why Truth Social was stood up. So the one difference between now and 2020 is that President Trump will be able to get his voice out, as will millions of other Americans, because Truth Social exists. We're building the underlying technology to make sure that doesn't happen. However, there is one thing that we don't know, and we didn't find out till after the fact, and that was that Facebook put in almost $500 million to go into what appears to be illegal ballot harvesting in 7 states. And so we're back to that point. And I think the campaign's going to have to really focus on those 7 states, on roughly 15 counties, because we're not going to know if we know they're going to censor President Trump. We know they're going to censor Republicans. What we don't know is how much money are they putting into dark pools in order to go out and harvest ballots. And that's what I think Republicans in these 7 states are going to have to really be focused on.
Well, President Trump told me on Thursday that Mark Zuckerberg called him and that Mark Zuckerberg is not going to be endorsing anybody on the Democrat side. But real quick, Kash, before you guys go, 48 members of the Republican Senate caucus signed a letter on Friday to President Biden demanding that he end a partial arms embargo against Israel. Given the threats that the U.S. ally is facing from Iran-backed terrorists, there's a lot of worry this morning that we could actually see an attack on Israel tonight going into tomorrow. Your reaction and thoughts in terms of this very concerning conflict between Iran and Israel?
This highlights the national security failures of the Biden administration. President Trump prioritized adversarial intelligence collection against Iran because they were the largest state sponsor of terror and continue to be, and he shut off the Iran nuclear deal. Joe Biden comes in, flips the switch, pays Iran $7 billion plus money so they can buy nuclear materials and weaponry from our adversaries. And what we have now is a deprioritization in the America First approach. And what you see is the United States Senate responding to that because they knew President Trump's policies of favoring and providing money to our allies in Israel was more important than funding terrorists who are killing American citizens, American soldiers, and taking our allies and our citizens as hostages. Well, when you treat Iran as terrorists, that's what needs to happen.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your insights. We so appreciate it. Devin Nunes and Kash Patel.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.